How you doing, guys? So after some die grinding the edges, the inner edges that is, and using my Dremel to kind of smooth it all out, I just took a sanding block with some, I think I had 120 on it, and just did a little sanding on the inside. And as you can see, overall the inside is fairly straight. It is fairly smooth. I do have some deep cut marks where the die grinder went into the top of the lid. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to just finish sanding up a few things. I'm going to put a coat of epoxy into it so that way I can fill those divots in. And I'm just going to take one piece of fine mat that will fit perfectly inside this area and just tap it into place so that way when it cures I'll have a nice kind of like mesh look on the inside. Now you're asking why you're doing all this just for a stupid lid. I don't know, just want to try. But does it fit? That's the question. So let's go over to the box, let's drop it on, and there it is. The lid actually fits quite nicely. You can see, I mean, it doesn't move around. I mean, that's the box moving around, but it doesn't move around much. It is in good shape. It looks the part to me so far. So I'm going to do the inside, get that done, and then we're going to start tackling the outside. In other words, really truing up these corners and making sure the edges are real nice and sharp. So after that little bit of work, this is what I have curing. The corners are all nice and smooth. They are fairly 90 degrees on the inside, which is fine. I just smoothed it over. I'm not going to do anything else to the inside. I'm going to call this done. And once that kind of cures, you'll have a nice mesh look once I give it a light coat of paint. All right, I'm going to let this cure, and then we're going to hit the sides and the corners of the exterior. With the sides and the top sanded with 36 grit on a long block, I did it by hand, everything seems to be dialed in to about 90%. What I'm going to do now is I'm just going to put one more coat of resin all over it, and I'm going to block that out with probably lightly with 120, and then I'll just block it off with 220 real quick. And I'm going to call the lid done at this point in time, and we'll move on to the box. With the layer of resin on the lid, you can see that it's pretty darn dialed in. I might actually just let this cure just a little bit, and I'm just going to hit it with 220. I think just sand it lightly with 220, get all the brush marks out of it, make it flat, and then we'll move on to the box itself. So with the lid all sanded out and on the box, it looks really good. It's ready for some primer, surfacer, and a little bit of sanding, and it will be mint. Next is the box. Now, I originally said I wasn't going to make a new box. I was just going to modify this original Wheel Horse toolbox. But after looking at the box itself, it's not going to fit. I probably should just make a new box. Let's put it that way. I'm going to correct myself and just make a new box. And there's a couple of reasons for that. One, to get the wiring in and out of the box, I need to cut the corners off one side in order to get the main cables in and then all the cables out to the starter. So I would have to modify the bottom of the box. The second thing is, I think overall the box itself is too tall, so which means I would have to cut the top of it down. Probably, I'm thinking about 3/4 of the way up is probably where I want it. So I'd have to cut the top of the box off. So I might as well just make one. So I went off to Home Cheapo and I got this 22 gauge piece of sheet steel. And I'm going to make a template, a cardboard template of the tall side, the bottom, and the tall side. And with the little flaps, these little guys right here. That way, or I might even do it just to the sides. I don't know yet, but I'm going to make the U shape, I guess. The other thing too, I would have to sandblast the inside of this box anyways in order to make it clean enough so I can make my ground connections. So with that, let me get the template together, and then I'm going to use, and I've got to measure this up because obviously we got to make it fit that, or this make the lid fit to the box. So let me get some cardboard out or some manila folders out and take some measurements, and we'll do some layout on the steel. So with some rough measurements, I figured out the overall size of the box that I want to have. It's actually going to be 5 7/8 wide with, where is it? Oh, 16 1/8. So the length of the box to make the 3 sides is 16 1/8. This is 5 7/8, right? Yes, 5 7/8 wide, because I'm going to bend a 1/2 inch up on either side for my tabs, or for my little spots where I'm going to weld it together. As you can tell, I really should use a shear, or have a shear to cut this with, but I don't. I just have a pair of tin snips. So just taking my time, working the snips down the line that I want, trying not to have it like completely cut right to the tip. Kind of stop my cuts before the tip, shove the shear in some more, and then squeeze it and move it along. I'm doing it fairly, it looks fairly straight. I'm fairly happy with it. I'm just going to keep working it down, and then I'll show you what the next step is that I'm going to do, I should say. With the cut complete, which took me a little bit of time, I just hit it with a, oops, there it is, I'm sorry, a big file, just to go along that edge. It's not bad. Came out good. It's not like a factory edge where that was used with a shear, but that's pretty darn close. Close enough where once we make all the bends, you're never going to notice it. The other thing too is I used my body hammer right there and my little piece of railroad track in order to just hammer that edge nice and straight, or just take the little bit of dimpling from the shears out of it. Alright guys, I think this is where we're going to stop this video. In the next video, I'm going to do my measurements, make my little triangle cuts so I can bend up the 90-degree tabs, as well as bend up the sides, and then we'll make the other side of the box. Wow, it's like 1,000 degrees in this garage today. I don't. That's the other reason why I'm kind of cutting it short. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you for all my my viewers that watch me consistently. Please like, subscribe, and share the video if you would, please. And as always, have a great day.